in Canada because
a boot. Not a boot. Sorry.
Welcome back to Trail Trucks Garage with Jeff, and we're continuing on with the XT250 project from Colin's. So I think where we left off was we kind of fitted up the front mud guard, and we got a few little other things to clean up on this machine before we give it back to Colin. We gotta do something with this. It's not really going to integrate with the high mount fender that we've got on it, and it's kind of ugly, but so we'll have to come up with something, you know, kind of de-nonify it in some way. I don't know. I had to do a lot of plastic welding on it just to kind of get it going. So, you know, we'll figure that out. What else are we doing? Yeah, so we've got this broken. I had to re-drill this, and as you can kind of see, if you can see, the front kind of comes up. It needs to come down just slightly, so that we need to pull this back up with some screws. But this one's busted off, so we're gonna try to get that out today. And then we don't want to pull it too much because we don't want this rubbing against the muffler. But if we have to, we'll have to trim off this little section right here that sticks out so that we can clear the muffler. Yeah, so I think that's about it today. And then Colin mentioned something about a bash plate, so I don't know whether we'll pick up a cutting board and try to do a cutting board template, or I think he said he's got something down there he's going to use. So yeah, and blinkers. We lost blinkers somehow. So, and I think we lost the taillight as well, so we got to figure some wiring out too. And repair the tab. So this tab right here on this plastic side piece is broken. I repaired it once before, but I use Plastifix, and Plastifix doesn't like this type of plastic much. So yeah, we'll figure that out. So first thing is to get that screw out. So the plan will be to heat it up a little bit, use some penetrating fluid, see if I can grab a hold of the end with vice grips. Failing that, we're going to weld a nut to it and see if we can get it out. Alright, we'll just let you roll. First thing I got to do is get the mud guard off. And it's a 10. So I'll remove that mud guard and I'll bring you back. Alright, welcome back. We got that, there was just a little chunk of it out. It's over here. So I was able to get a hold of it with some vice grips and pull that out. So I also 3D printed some spacers here. So these are just kind of I just took a big guess. But what that'll do is, so when we come back up, oh, I thought I had that still not straight. Anyway, and that comes up here. There, it'll keep it from getting pulled up too far. So we hopefully don't run into the back side here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw this thing back on with the spacers, and we'll see how it looks. So there's a whole bunch of crap going on. We got noise and construction and stuff, but basically, yeah, I think that looks pretty darn good. It kind of evens it out a little bit, so it follows the curve of the wheel a little bit more, and most we just clear. So I think those spacers are the ticket. We'll leave those alone, and I'd say the front fender's done. We can put a pin in that. All right. So this is a mess. This took a lot of damage when the bike was over. So I have a soldering iron specifically set aside for plastic welding. I think I mentioned in my Polyvance Plastifix rant video that I would like to get a kit probably from them or from somebody, a professional plastic welding kit, because I kind of enjoy doing it. I can make a better go of this. So we're gonna try with my old Weller thing here, soldering iron. So let's see if that's hot enough. Yeah, it's hot enough. So the goal here is to kind of mesh these back together. You got to do it from both sides, and you should use filler rod, which we don't have any. but I did cut off some of this plastic. So just for example, so it had a skirt in the bottom that kind of interfaced with the fender, but to give this a more modern look, I chopped that off, and I'm kind of trying to round the top here so it doesn't have this more of a modern, just plain old round part. So we'll see how this works. So what we'll do is we're going to first fuse this together, and then we'll try to use a little bit of filler rod here. So let's get these two halves together. Now the thing is, you want to push in, and then push in, and push in, and push in, and then you can kind of melt out. Now you're going to have to groove it, so it's got to be, you're actually pushing through, and you're going to lose some plastic to melting when you do that. But that's where we're going to come back in with some filler rod, or with some pieces of plastic. Okay, so now we kind of got that stitched. We're going to come in and come in. Now there are kits where they actually put metal in, so they melt like almost like a Z, and it kind of gives the plastic extra strength in that crack part. And I mean, I'm not, nothing wrong with those. I just don't have them. They actually kind of look interesting, but what this does is it just kind of squishes the plastic together, and you're kind of pushing it into each other. So it kind of, we got to get right down in there, because it's no good just to weld. It's no good just to weld the inside and the outside, like the edges together, right? Like, so we put holes in that. I wasn't at a good enough angle there, but like I said, we're going to come back, smooth it out, and we're going to come back with a little filler material. Getting these round edges, we're gonna push back into the crack, the hole we made. Now, with those professional kits, it's got a flatter, broader head, and the filler rod just gets fed right into it. But here, I just have to use what I can use. So we chop this off. So just some of this stuff that's all kind of melted in there. Just going to put that in and melt it down in. So it's kind of messy, but you do what you got to do. So eventually, I don't know, Colin may decide to swap up something, or maybe he'll want to put the factory one back on. But again, the factory one's going to have the same issues, because we changed out the whole interface with that high mount fender, right? So, but at least it'd be one piece. Now, we could give this a scuff and a painting to kind of hide some of our sins. But paint just doesn't stick to plastic very well. Not this type of plastic anyway. Like we've all seen that, where somebody's painted over, like, ATV plastics or dirt bike plastics, and it just doesn't look good. Now you can get adhesion promoters for plastic, or paint that's specifically for plastic, and that helps. But I just find this type of plastic just doesn't paint well in general. So don't cut towards your kids. It's not good. Alright. So let's get that in there. Another good way to do this would be to come up with an epoxy. So you can use acetone, but it's hard to, like, that doesn't work with some plastics. I'm not sure what this plastic is. ABS it works really good with, right? But of course Plastifix works good with ABS, so I wouldn't bother doing it. But that is an option too, if you don't have any of that stuff, is to get yourself some acetone. Like if this was ABS, we cut a bunch of this off, dissolve it in some acetone, and then make yourself a little paste. Needless to say, you should be wearing a respirator. You should be breathing in all these fumes. Someday I'll pay for this. I'm sure I will. So we're going to fill in this spot right here. Now you got to melt all the way down through here, or it's just not going to adhere to the base material. So you got to make a mess before you can make it look better. And that's always the case, right? Whether you're doing body work or anything. Even when you're gluing something, it's so tempting just to like put the two pieces that are perfectly, you know, matching back together and put glue in it. But that's is rarely ever going to work that way. CA glue will work that way with some things, but because you need a really close seam for that stuff to work. But for most epoxies and stuff, you got to V-groove. You got to make the hole bigger. Welding, same way. You got to make the hole bigger. Oops. I'm hitting it with the edge here. The shaft. We don't want to do that. We just want the tip. The tip today. Just the tip, mind you. That's why I usually have this thing angled. I don't know. I must have straightened for some reason. Well, that's probably good for that. Let's set that aside for now. Now, this is the other thing we got to do. I just pulled right out. So, I'll set you aside. You see that Plastifix didn't adhere to this at all. Watch this. Get this flat blade here. See? It adhered to itself, but it didn't adhere to this at all. She just tore it up. So, and I knew that when I did it. I just thought I'd try it. Again, we're just squishing. Squish, 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 squish. Back side here. I think if I remember correctly, this tab was completely missing. And I had to... I think I made it out of another piece that I had to chop off this thing. Ain't quite that long. See what we're doing? We're making a cross piece to give it some strength. Okay, let's get some extra. Get another piece right there. All right, now let's start putting in some pieces here. Mounting in some reinforcement here. So it's ugly, but it works. So there we go. We got it reinforced. So it's going to take a good whack to break that again. So we'll get these back on. Hey, welcome back. I wasn't going to take it outside and do a grand reveal and, you know, but just bloody mess out there. So here, we're all finished. Got a horn, we're clear. I showed you guys the front fender. It's all mounted. Get your handguards. There's my little homemade spacers. And all the lights work. Everything, it was just a blown fuse. So, hey, it's all good. So, that brings the XT250 little project to a close. Not super exciting. It's all legal, ready to go. Oh, mirrors. That's the only thing I haven't done. And yeah, so we'll probably put on some. I think I've got some foldable clip-on mirrors that we'll put on it for now. If not, maybe I'll do a 3D printed set, just like the double take style mirrors for them. But we'll see. I think I got some mirror glass. It doesn't matter. we'll do one or the other. We'll come up with something for it. But other than that, this project's a wrap. And if you like this type of content, like and subscribe, comment. If you don't like it, tell me why you don't like it so I can, you know, improve things. So for Jeff at Trail Trash Garage and Trail Trash ADV, I'll catch you in the next video. You know we're in Canada because...
A boot! A boot! Sorry.